friends, welcome to another episode of Deep True Crime as we continue the case against Barry Morphew. This is part 6 of this series that we're doing, and we're gonna do something a little different for this particular one. So this part will be broken up into multiple little pieces. So this will be the first part, basically part 6A, because there's a lot of this where the FBI is interviewing Barry Morphew. And in order to keep this consistent, I don't want to overwhelm you with so much stuff. I want to just make it into little bits of pieces to make this a little more simpler for you. I'm Manny Rodriguez. Thank you for joining me today. And so we're going to be talking about Barry's interview with the FBI in 2021, which would later lead to his arrest, January 27th, 2021. In this interview, Barry stated numerous times that he had no idea of the affair, and he asked multiple times to know who her lover was. He initially guessed her lover lived in Arizona, where he was telling Suzanne he wanted to go on Friday, May 8th, 2 days before she disappeared. And he said that maybe Suzanne's disappearance was a form of God's judgment for the affair. Very odd statement. Very odd statement. Special Agent Grusing and Special Agent Harris, they met with Barry at his condo in Poncha Springs, Colorado, to inform him of the affair. Again, he says he has no idea. He had no idea about this affair. Upon meeting Barry, as he was walking behind his house and telling him that agents needed to speak with him privately, he said, "Okay, I'm working right now. Can I get your number?" He eventually agreed to speak with agents right there. After being informed Suzanne had an affair, Barry asked who the person was and how long the affair had been going on. He then said, This is a complete surprise to me. I have had no idea of this and would never suspect her of doing this." He later said, "'Cause I never seen it on her phone. How was she?" That was his comment to them. Special Agent Grusing asked if Barry remembered her handing him her phone in Mexico, that he was trying to see who she was talking to. Barry said, "Yeah. Wasn't in her phone. Snapchat?" He's asking that question. Barry said, "I can assure you I had no idea there was another man." Barry said, "I had no idea they were communicating, and if you guys are trying to tell me that I found out about this and did something, that's completely wrong." So he's already having an idea that they are going to try to pin this on me because I knew she had an affair. So does that lead him to say right from the get, "No, I didn't know because I already know you're going to try to pin that on me"? Or did he legitimately not know she was having an affair? Let me know in the comments what you think about that. And so Special Agent Grusing said that Suzanne's and her lover's communication stopped Saturday afternoon, May 9th. Barry said, "Well, I was with Suzanne. I came home to have lunch, went into town to get the blade on my Bobcat fixed, and I had the wrong timeline on that. So if she was talking to this individual, it had to be when I came into Salida." Now, Special Agent Harris told Barry that Suzanne was communicating with the individual on some occasions while Barry was in the house. Barry asked, "Where is this guy from? Arizona?" Special Agent Grusing told Barry hundreds of communications existed between Suzanne and this person, especially on Saturday before Barry came back home just before 3 o'clock. Barry asked, "Can you tell me how many months it's been going on?" Special Agent Grusing said Barry could probably answer that himself. Barry said, "Well, I can't answer that on the way she treated me because she didn't treat me like she wanted to leave me." Special Agent Grusing told Barry about the recording pen and the conversations when Barry asked Suzanne to tell him if she loved him, and she could not answer that she loved him. Barry was asked if he remembered that. Barry was shaking his head side to side, signaling no. As he replied, "Yeah, I remember," Barry began to cry out loud. Now, Barry stated she's always been insecure because she didn't have a father. He left, was a drunk. When we were dating, insecure that I'm cheating, I'm having an affair. When we are married and I got a secretary and I'm having an affair with her, you can go back through my whole entire life. I've never even touched, let alone talk or text to another woman beside my wife. You'll never find that. I find that odd, and I don't know whether to believe him or not, because I would think your wife is missing. I would think women would be coming out of the woodworks if he did have an affair. I would think someone would drop dime on him to say, yes, he was having an affair with me. Because by all accounts, she believed multiple times that he was having an affair. Someone should be willing to speak. I mean, that's my thought. Someone should be talking, because she believed that he had multiple affairs in Indiana. She believed he was having an affairs quite a bit, but there's no proof. There has to be some proof if he did this. So I'm torn whether to believe he's had an affair or not. So Barry asked to guess who Suzanne's lover was, and he said it's either David Huff or Kevin Stout. Am I right? Agents did not confirm, and Barry began to talk about Suzanne possibly being in the river. Special Agent Grusing asked, the river from an accident or an abduction? Barry said either one. I don't think the way I see it, it was an accident and she ran from somebody to the river. He continued, if she got in the river and hit a rock with her head from that could have been a possibility. Or they could have grabbed her at the river and took her up. Barry was asked if he found out something about Suzanne on Saturday or if someone else was involved. Barry shook his head and said, there's nothing that I found out Saturday about her having an affair. Nothing. Special Agent Grusing asked if he found out Friday or Saturday if she was having an affair. Barry said, I told you. I've already told you this. This is the first day that I found out she had an affair. You researched the lady. She's an angel. She's a saint. This just blows my mind, and it's gonna blow anybody's mind to find this out. He added, as soon as they find out, they're going to say old hothead Barry found out and killed his wife. Yes, that has been speculated a few different times. Special Agent Grusing told Barry about the May 6th text wherein Suzanne said, I'm done. Let's just handle this civilly. Barry was working, and his responses were that life was not worth living and going to meet my savior, and life is a mere grain of sand compared to eternity. Barry said, yeah, and I was just trying to hurt her. That's all I was doing. I would never have killed myself with my daughter. Special Agent Grusing told Barry that investigators noted Suzanne did not tell Barry not to commit suicide. Barry said, I know. Well, it makes perfect sense now why. Back then, it didn't to me. I would want her to say, no, don't hurt yourself, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, it didn't come. Barry said, I appreciate it, but I want you to know that I've been a Christian my whole entire life. I accepted the Lord. I love the Lord, and he knows why this happened, and I gotta trust him. I have to trust that he did this for a reason. My thought on that is that's a very chilling comment. To blame God for her disappearance, that to me does not look well for Barry. That's just my thought. He added, I'm telling you, I had no idea of this until today. But looking at everything now, things are making a little bit more sense to me from God's point of view, because I would never understand why God could take away my wife after I fought 2 battles of cancer with her, had 2 miracle babies that we shouldn't have had, and had a wonderful life together. Barry continued, I can promise you that I knew none of this until today. Barry said she never talked Saturday to me about leaving. Did you find communication between her and I Saturday about that? Because to me, Saturday was a good day. We had a good evening together. Saturday through Friday, we had an argument on the phone. Friday, I'm not sure. Friday, I'm sure you've seen that. Special Agent Grusing told Barry that for some reason it seems he is placing Wednesday as Friday. Barry said, "Oh," just like that. "Oh." Special Agent Grusing reminded Barry that it was Wednesday when Suzanne said she was done. Barry said, "Okay, then that was Wednesday, not Friday. Friday, she would go through these times where we would fight like that and then everything would be okay, back to normal. Okay, then that was Wednesday, not Friday. Friday, she would go through these times where we would fight like that and then everything would be back to normal." And it was like nothing ever happened. And we'd go eat dinner, we'd go home, we'd have sex, everything would be fine. Special Agent Grusing told Barry that investigators have a fuller picture of his actions in Broomfield. Barry said, I told to Joe and Derek everything. And Joe's like, "Well, why are you going to 5 different trash cans and throwing all kinds of crap away?" And I said, I've done that my whole entire life. My truck is a mess. I throw things away here and there because I'm a tightwad and I don't want to pay for trash pickup or this or that. Or I had time that day. I was going to have more time, spend more time on that wall all day. But when I got to it and I realized that my workers were going to come and I could just have them do this stuff and I had time on my hands. Now, Barry's story that he had time on his hands after working on the wall contradicts his 5 trash runs on May 10th, 4 of which occurred before he went to the wall, then finished with his walk across the hotel parking lot. Special Agent Grusing asked Barry about coming home on Saturday after errands and whether he remembered where Suzanne was when he got home. Barry said no. Special Agent Grusing asked if she could have been out on the deck. Barry said, "I don't remember," shaking his head side to side before answering. "I do not recall where she was when I got home. I don't even remember going to town and doing that." Special Agent Grusing, he told Barry that investigators have some images to show him. Barry said, "Of that she sent to this guy?" Special Agent Grusing confirmed and said that it might be the last time outside of Barry that she is seen by someone else alive. Barry said, "I'm telling you right now, there was nothing out of the normal Saturday afternoon. Nothing. It's almost like that evening. Nothing ever happened to us that week. She's like one person one day, another person the other day. And when she acts like that, I'm going to accept it and take it all in because when she's distant and cold, I don't get any affection. And Saturday, there was no problems. Nope, none. And I don't understand that you're telling me that she's communicating with this guy Saturday all day. I'm working till noon, come home, eat lunch with her, leave again and come home and then spend the evening with her. Eat supper with her, have sex with her. I can assure you that Saturday night was a good night for us. And I can assure you that we made love that night and there's no way that she would have done that to me if she's got this head on about this other guy." Special Agent Grusing said that Suzanne was disclosing things about their love life to the other guy. Barry said, "Well, I'm sure if she's not disclosing things, our having sex with her lover," Barry made air quotes with his hand while saying this, lover, because that would upset him. So she's probably lying to him if she's saying we're not having sex, because we do, and we did. And I can assure you that that night we did 100%. And February, when I went to meet her in Florida, that's all it was sex. I mean, why would she do that to me if she's got this other guy that she's leaving me for? None of this is making sense. Special Agent Grusing asked what does not make sense to Barry, adding that Barry said earlier things were making sense. Barry said, "Making sense in God's eyes. Why someone like me, someone like us, well, now that you told me that she was having an affair, Maybe. I don't know. Maybe in God's eyes, this was his way of resolving something. I don't know. I'm just not liking that statement when he brings God in and saying God is the reason for her disappearance. That to me is not a good. I don't like that comment. I don't believe that comment, but that's me. What do you think in reference to him using God as the reason for her disappearance? To me, that's chilling. Barry stated, that's why I said it's making sense to me with God's relationship. None of this. I'm telling you that there's nothing that I knew about. I know I had text where I said, yeah, you're having an affair. You having a boyfriend. I just did that to reciprocate what she was saying to me. Special Agent Grusing said that Suzanne had on her notes on her phone that Barry accused her of having a boyfriend on May 6th, which is the same day she texted and said they should just do this civilly. Special Agent Grusing asked Barry if he remembered that. Barry said, yeah, I remember that, but I didn't mean it. I was just saying it to get to her, to try to get to her. Barry talked about striking Suzanne once when he clipped her nose, but that was the only time he was physically abusive. Special Agent Grusing said that in doing the victimology work on Suzanne, investigators know that that was not the only time she came at Barry. And that when Suzanne got frustrated, she would physically come at Barry. Barry said, she physically come at me several times through my life and I took it. And I'm a man and I'm tough and I can take it. Gotta lie about the scratch marks in front of people when they're on my face, but that is the only time I ever touched her, and I swear to God, I would never lay a hand on my wife, and that was just a crazy reflex. Now, when he's talking about the scratch marks, now remember, he had a bunch of scratches on his arm and his face, in reference to the scratches on Barry's left arm on May 13th in the Chaffee County Sheriff Office photos, which is weird because Barry later to the FBI, he told the FBI he did not recall how he got those, possibly from a tree. Special Agent Harris asked Barry what he meant when he said this might be God's way of resolving things. Barry said, I tell you what, I've had a very hard time understanding why God did this. And he allowed it. If you know what you know that he allows bad things to happen. But all that we've been through, and all that we are, I couldn't understand it. And maybe we'll never understand till we get to heaven. But if I would have known this in the beginning, I wouldn't had to suffer for 9 months. Not knowing why God did what he did. I'm not saying he did it to punish Suzanne because of her affair, but it makes more sense than what I knew before you guys came today. Barry said he wanted the news of the affair to be kept between agents and him, adding, and if we can all keep this private between us forever, that's all I would ever want. Now that concluded that interview that was done on January 27th. 2021. The very next day, they interview Barry again. In this interview on January 28th, Barry suggested that Suzanne ran away, discussed with agents her numerous trips to meet her lover, was told by agents that her lover thought the affair led to her homicide, and was told that no body cases could be proven. Special Agent Harris and Grusing attempted to contact Barry Morphew in a construction area behind his temporary residence in Poncha Springs, Colorado. He spoke with agents by cell phone as he walked back and forth in front of the car, about 50 yards away from the vehicle, though agents said they needed to meet with him. This is some of the conversation that they talked about. After thinking about what he learned yesterday, Barry suggested that Suzanne ran away. He said, can you answer that? Can you answer? Could she possibly have staged her bike and got in the car with somebody? I know that they did research on all of the vehicles that were in that area. And I mean, did that clear that, possibility? because she's not a dumb person. She's pretty stinking smart, and if she's thinking of just taking off, that's something that she would think about. I know her. Is that a possibility that she did that? Special Agent Grusing told Barry that Suzanne sent her lover photos of herself serving as her last proof of life. Barry stated, well, let me tell you this and see if you can shed some light on this. I told you that in the past year, not the past year, but before that happened the past year, she had taken 7 trips by herself. Are you guys aware of those? Special Agent Grusing confirmed and Barry replied, and one of them was to Louisiana. Are you aware of that one? Special Agent Grusing confirmed and Barry replied, and was this individual that she was having an affair with at that location with her? Special Agent Grusing asked Barry his thought and why he brought up Louisiana. Barry stated, because it would just, when it happened and she said she was going there, it didn't make any sense at all to me. She's like, I've always wanted to go, blah, blah, blah. And she was going through cancer. I was trying to make her happy, wanted to give her whatever she wanted. But when I was questioning her, it didn't make sense to me why she would want to go there. Barry admitted to questioning Suzanne about the New Orleans trip to meet Libler. Further evidence he suspected the affair. Barry asked, so, then that means you guys have evidence that she's not? Special Agent Grusing stated that the FBI uses methods to determine if someone is alive or not. Barry asked, in your systems of investigations, these things that, or physical evidence? Special Agent Grusing concurred that there was a little physical evidence, and he told Barry that recently some no-body homicides cases have used the FBI to prove someone is not alive. Barry responded, that's very interesting. Barry asked, when you approached him, her lover, what was his demeanor? Special Agent Grusing said he was shell-shocked and very contrite. Special Agent Harris confirmed he was shell-shocked and contrite, adding that the man feels bad about it. Barry asked, feels bad? He feels bad about the affair? Special Agent Grusing said he wonders if the affair caused her to disappear and caused her homicide. And Grusing added Suzanne's lover said, maybe it was my fault. Maybe my relationship with Suzanne caused her to be killed. Barry was silent for a few seconds. Barry stated, see, now you guys are talking this, you're talking in a way that it really bothers me. Special Agent Grusing asked, why? Barry said, because I have no evidence of my wife being dead, and that's, you guys are absolutely certain of it, and that's very troubling to me. Grusing said that yesterday Barry said he thought she was under the beaver dam, and Special Agent Grusing does not think that she would have not survived down there. I know, but I don't know that for a fact. I said, that's my thought. After 9 months of nothing from anybody, that would seem to make sense why there's no evidence, but I don't know that for a fact. Barry later said, let me ask you a question. You guys have bugged my phone. You've heard every conversation that I've had since May 10th. If there was one thing that I said, you've done this for 25 years. There's no conversation that I've had with anybody that would make you guys look at me as a suspect. Special Agent Grusing reminded Barry about the problems he cited earlier with CBI, adding that Barry's statements do not make sense with some of the evidence. Special Agent Grusing told Barry the FBI was not after him, but trying to find Suzanne. Barry stated, okay, well, I'm at my meeting. I got to get back and get to work. Well, that concludes the interview for January 28th, when they interviewed him a second time 2 days in a row. The next time they interview him is about a month later, on February 28th. In this interview, Barry asked again for the lover's name, gave his code for knowing when people tell lies, discussed his activities on Saturday, May 9th, and significantly changed his earlier accounts to match evidence provided to him, putting a gun in his hand that afternoon when Suzanne was last known to be alive. Interesting, huh? At 1:14 p.m., Special Agent Grusing greeted Barry, and Barry replied, "Hey guys." Special Agent Grusing told Barry that agents needed to share information with him. Barry stated, "I got a meeting here in about 10 minutes. I was gonna head for, but how long will it take?" Special Agent Grusing told Barry he has first right of refusal to the information. He asked, "Is this about her and the guy?" Special Agent Grusing said agents would like to discuss the affair, the technology, and other aspects that Barry can clear up. After a few minutes, Barry asked, "Are you able to give me the name of the gentleman?" Special Agent Grusing said agents could share more information with Barry, then asked him what giving him the name of the man would do for him. Barry answers, it's just peace of mind. If it was a friend or an acquaintance, just peace of mind. Wouldn't you want to know if it was your wife?" Special Agent Grusing said he did not know how he would respond. Barry added, "Yeah, I mean, just to know that wasn't a friend at least." Special Agent Grusing confirmed the man was not Barry's friend. Special Agent Grusing responded, "The evidence points towards her not being alive with the facts collected to date, not to determine who was guilty." Barry said, and I'm not guilty. There's no doubt that I'm not guilty. I'm just telling you that from what Joe and Derek did tell me, I mean, Jim Comey's a liar. And, do you think he's a liar? Special Agent Grusing said he did not know if Comey was a liar, and Barry interrupted, "That's ridiculous. How could you not know he's a liar from what he said on the stand in front of the Senate?" Special Agent Grusing asked what he said. Barry stated, "Well, I don't know exactly what he said word for word, but they asked him questions, and he said, 'I don't recall,' just like Hillary Clinton. All of them freaking liberals don't recall anything when they don't want to tell the truth." Now, Barry's equating of people saying, "I don't recall," means to him that those people are telling lies, was told back to Barry on April 22nd, 2021, when Barry said, "I don't recall," to most of the critical questions about what happened to Suzanne on Saturday and Sunday, May 9th and 10th. Grusing told Barry that agents brought a notebook with evidence they would like to share with him. Barry replied, "Could you answer me some questions first? Was she with him in New Orleans?" Special Agent Grusing said she was. Barry asked, "And was she with him in Florida?" Grusing said she was. After a pause, Barry asked, "And Indiana?" Special Agent Grusing said she was. Barry asked, "And how long has this been going on?" Grusing answered that 2 years. Barry asked, 2 years? Special Agent Grusing said it started shortly after they moved to Colorado. Barry asked, "And you can't tell me where they connected the first time?" Special Agent Harris said they connected through social media. Barry repeated, "Social media?" Barry said, "And the app they were using to communicate, there's no way that I could have known about that. And what was that called again?" Special Agent Grusing said agents did not want to give that to Barry, and he replied, "I'm not going to go hunt." Special Agent Grusing told Barry he was a hunter. Barry said, "I know, but I need this for he continued. "So who? Just tell me who the guy is. I don't know. Why can't you answer that? I'm not going to go do anything to this guy. I can't afford to leave the only the only parent that my daughter has. If I go beat some guy up and go to jail, I can't afford that. Would I want to? Yeah. Would you? Yeah. Somebody screwing your wife for 2 years behind your back? That's just cold-blooded. I would never do that to a guy, but I'm not gonna do that. But for my peace of mind, I just like to know who it is. And do you believe me when I say I had no idea this was even happening? Special Agent Grusing said some of the evidence items that agents brought to show Barry would help prove he did not know. Barry said, well, I didn't know. I'm telling you right now, I mean, she was the last person in the world I would suspect would do this. But for her to pull this off blows me away. Now, Barry has made at least 13 assertions by his third interview with the FBI, most of them unsolicited, that he had no idea about the affair and asks agents to say they believe him. This contradicts other statements made to the FBI and his actions in 2019 to find out who Suzanne is talking with and who she is seeing on her trips. Now, Barry stated, did she leave that night? Because I told Joe and Derek that we had sex and went to bed and I went to sleep. And I work so hard that when I go to sleep, I'm out until 3 o'clock. Special Agent Grusing asked about the hike to Foose's Lake, if that happened. Barry said, well, I was confused on the hike too. I thought it was that Saturday, but after talking to Joe and them, it could have been Friday. It could have been Thursday. I remember us doing that and I thought it was Saturday. Special Agent Grusing asked if Barry came home Saturday and went for the hike or bike ride. Barry said, when I came home, we did lunch then. Special Agent Grusing asked if that was veggie soup and Barry replied, yeah, lunch. Special Agent Grusing asked if they hiked after lunch. Barry stated, I don't recall because I don't even recall taking my Bobcat back to crib. Harris confirmed Barry texted crib that he was at the house and needed a few minutes. Barry said, okay, yeah. And I don't know why. I've got a great memory. I don't know why I don't recall that. Special Agent Grusing said Barry called Tim backhoe, and Barry said backhoe attachment for the Bobcat and looked at that. I don't know if it was that day or what. Special Agent Grusing told Barry he drove to where the backhoe attachment was and Barry interjected, looked at it. Barry said, well, I didn't like it. I looked at it and didn't like it. Yeah, I called him and told him I wasn't interested. Barry eventually said he wasn't interested because of the price. Now, referencing earlier interview with Tim Klico, also known as Tim Backhoe, Barry already knew the price of the backhoe attachment and never told Klico why he did not want to buy it after Saturday, May 9th. Special Agent Grusing explained that Suzanne took her last proof of life picture while Barry was out on this errand, but it was not apparent where she was. Barry said, oh, she had to be at the house because Special Agent Grusing said Suzanne's location at the house was unclear and asked Barry if he would look at the picture. Barry said, yeah, and like I said, I'm running really late. I don't have an hour, but let me look at this, he added. And I would really like for guys, since I'm being cooperative, trying to help you, that you would give me the name of this guy. That's all I want for peace of mind. Special Agent Grusing told Barry he had not been cleared yet in Suzanne's homicide, citing the evidence in the affair and the other collected evidence, and that some of the evidence is contrary to his statements. Barry said, yeah, but it can't contradict my statements. There's just no way. I told Joe word for word, place for place, everywhere I was. Special Agent Grusing asked Barry about his first statement of setting his alarm for 4:30 in the morning. Barry stated, I don't remember setting the alarm. I might have told him that. Special Agent Grusing confirmed he told him that. Barry said, but not my phone alarm, the clock alarm. But I set that thing so many times. I mean, maybe I didn't remember, but I know I wanted to get going early. And sometimes when I know I gotta get up early, I set the alarm. Special Agent Grusing told Barry the FBI knew he was moving well before 4:30. Barry said, I get up. I got an enlarged prostate. I get up and pee all night through. All through the night. Now, Special Agent Grusing interrupted and told Barry he was outside in the driveway. Catching him in these lies. Barry said, well, if I did anything outside, it wasn't anything wrong. Special Agent Grusing explained Barry's statements do not matter compared to the importance of him seeing the evidence. Barry replied, it doesn't matter. Your evidence does not matter because if it's anything to do with tying me up with her disappearance, it's wrong. Special Agent Grusing said the agents are in an auditor role, not determiners of guilt. Barry interrupted, but Johnny, you know that there is nothing on my phone that shows that I knew about her affair. So I think I know what you guys are trying to do. You're trying to say, if I knew about that, then I did something. Special Agent Grusing later told Barry that Suzanne told Jeannie Ritter not to come over to have coffee that week. Barry said, see, this is all pointing to her leaving. All of it is. And if she's in Mexico somewhere and she's freaked out or something went wrong, how do we know that? Barry said he had to go to work but agreed to see the photo of Suzanne's last proof of life. Barry looked at the photo and said, well, look at her. She's obviously drunk. Look at her eyes. Do you know what drunk eyes look like? He added. I mean, would you say those eyes are drunk eyes? Special Agent Grusing said bloodshot eyes are what he looks for. Barry said, no, it's the lazy eyes is what I see in her, and she drank. Special Agent Grusing asked Barry if she was wearing that swimsuit when he came home. He said, she was laying out. When Special Agent Grusing confirmed, Barry said, yep. Grusing asked if this arrival at home was after the blade change with Cree Barry. Barry replied, no. That's from going home after I got finished with Morgan for lunch. She was laying out and then we ate lunch. Grusing said the photo was taken later that day and he replied, then she must have went back out when I left. Grusing asked Barry if Suzanne was still laying out the second time he came back. Barry shook his head and said, I don't recall that. After a pause, he said, I don't recall. Grusing told Barry that when he arrived that afternoon, his phone went around the house quite a bit. Barry was nodding his head and saying, Grusing asked, were you looking for her? Barry said, I shoot chipmunks. Grusing asked, you shoot chipmunks? Barry said, yeah. Special Agent said, it looks like he was chasing one. Barry said, yeah, I've shot 85 chipmunks because they got into my furnace and cost me a bunch of money. So when I'm home, Grusing interrupts him and asks if he used a 22, and Barry replied, 22. So when I'm home, I just walk around and shoot him. Just keep going around the house. Barry made circular motions with his right arm. He said, every time I go around the house, I'll see another and I'll shoot it. Poor little chipmunks. Special Agent Grusing told Barry that activity would explain his phone's behavior, adding that he left his driver door open in the garage before he went to the first patio. Barry said, and said, yeah, shooting, while nodding his head during the description of movement. He added, no, I'm shooting chipmunks. I've done that ever since we moved in. Grusing asked Barry if he remembered doing it that day. He nodded his head and said, oh yeah. Grusing asked Barry what happened next. He shook his head and said, I don't recall. Special Agent asked about the hike happening then. Barry stated, it could have been I know there was one in the 2 or 3 day period where we went to the two Fooses, but I don't know. I can't tell you exactly when it was and I don't recall it. Grusing showed Barry a photo sent by Suzanne to Libler in the morning of May 9th with a series of texts discussing Barry's desire to move to Arizona. When Special Agent Grusing asked if that was her closet, Barry said, yep. The text discussed pizza from the night before and Barry said, yeah. When the text, "he's still wanting Arizona," was read, Barry asked, "Who's he? Me?" Special Agent Grusing confirmed. Barry asked, "Why is she talking to this guy about me and my life?" Grusing reminded Barry of him asking agents about Suzanne being in Arizona, if he was suspicious about Suzanne's guy being in Arizona at that point. Barry asked, "Is this guy from Arizona?" Grusing answered he was not. Barry asked, "Can you tell me what state he's from?" Grusing said he was from Barry's home state, and Barry repeated, "Indiana? From my hometown?" Grusing said he could not tell Barry that. Harris said if anything happened to the guy, agents would be placing Barry in a bad place. Barry interrupted, "I understand that, and nobody knows but you guys, not Shafi, CBI." Barry was shown a picture of the locations around the Morphew house of Suzanne's phone activity at 4:10 a.m. and 4:15 a.m. on May 10th, 2020. He said, "Well, if she did that, I have no idea that it went anywhere but the house. But if you was to ask me, I'd say it was at the house the whole time." Special Agent Grusing told Barry that agents wanted to complete this with him this evening. He asked, "Is it gonna be done?" When told it would be done, Barry asked, Done? Grusing told Barry if he sat down with agents and went through the binder, agents would be done talking to him. Barry asked, "But what if I tell you something wrong that was unintelligible, couldn't really understand it, different with Joe and Derek?" Grusing and Harris explained that Barry was helpful today and that other interviews would be the same. Barry says, "I mean, these things are they're not even relevant. Grusing said agents have a lot of data and Barry is the one who knows. He said, "All right, I'll call you when I get finished," and he walked away. On the next day when he's interviewed on February 29th, Special Agent Grusing and Special Agent Harris were parked about 1 block away from Barry's condo. Barry drove his truck beside the agent's car at 5:03 p.m. and handed a weathered .22 caliber altered rifle with a newly mounted rifle scope to agents. Barry said that was the gun he used to shoot Chipmunk and he had to leave to work out at the gym. There is some of the interview. We're going to continue this interview because it's a long one and I'm going to break this into little pieces for you with his interview with the FBI where they're catching him in his lies, where he's changing his statements around. And so we're going to continue this. Hey, be sure to click that subscribe button. That way you know when we upload more of the case against Barry Morphew. I'm Manny Rodriguez. Thank you for joining me today on Deep True Crime. We will continue this tomorrow. Talk to you later. Peace.